to NEK-TV Rocks, and my guest today is Hope Dobler, and you have a business called Fetch and Focus Dog Training, correct?
Yes.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Dog training is something that I also work with a big Facebook group, and very often there are a lot of requests about, is there anywhere I can go for dog training classes? Is that something that you offer now or are going to offer?
Yes. So I offer a decent amount of training classes, actually. So the way I have my curriculum set up is there's intro classes and then an intermediate class and then an advanced. So it's all based on age limit as well for your dog and size, because I know some people are like, I have a little Chihuahua, I really don't want it in a class with a German
I don't
Shepherd.
want your Rottweiler eating my puppy.
Yeah, like I don't want the Great Dane in the corner like staring at my dog, which is completely fine. So I also have classes set up for the small dogs. I have ways to make it work if you have a small dog that wants to come join us.
Sure.
So the very first class that I have for the young puppies is called Furry First Steps. So that one is more of, yes, we'll teach you the basics, like the basics, sit, lay down, leave it, drop it, stuff like that. But that one, I tailored it more to making sure you have a good bond with your dog, and it's built on trust.
Yeah.
So we also do a lot of touching while they're eating, brushing, all that stuff to make sure there's no aggression that could come up in the future. And we also do a lot of setting up for success when it comes to vet appointments and grooming appointments, because that's something that every dog needs. Even like the lab, I understand people don't, it's not like a doodle where you have to give them haircuts and baths all the time. But I hate to say it, your dog will more than likely get sprayed by a skunk.
Yes.
So they're going to need a bath.
It's all right. I've been sprayed by a skunk,
exactly.
so, you know, it happens.
Yeah, so the dog's going to need a bath at some point, and they're going to need their nails trimmed, their ears cleaned, like all of that stuff too.
Yeah.
So we make sure that your puppy is really comfortable with that from a young age, so that way it's less stressful for the groomer as well as the vet. So then we do all of that fun stuff. And then the graduation class for the puppies, it's very fun. We do a lot of games and stuff and showing off your new skills.
Yeah.
And then when you graduate that class, you can join the second part of that, which is called Beyond Beginners. So that one is where we take the skills we learned and build on them. So we learned sit and lay down before. Now we're going to learn sit and stay and lay down and stay. So then we work on that, and then we do a little bit more advanced recall with a little bit more distance and distractions. This is where we learn the leash walking. So we need to learn all these little baby skills in the first class to make sure they are focusing on you, especially when young dogs. Our recall that we do in the very first puppy class is actually called the name game, because believe it or not, a lot of dogs don't know their name, especially when they are just now coming into a home.
Sure.
So they don't know what their name is. All of a sudden they have this new mom and they're like, whoa, or dad, like, who are you? So we use that to make sure they can figure out their name and who their owner is. So that's why first steps, we do all the little baby stuff.
Sure.
The Beyond Beginners, we advance a little bit more on that. I like to try and go outside when the weather's warm, because obviously I don't want people to freeze.
So really?
Yeah, exactly. So we take them all out, we'll go for walks, we'll play in the grass a little bit, practice outside, introduce some new distractions, and then, so that's part 1 and 2 of puppy class. The intro level for the adult dogs that can't make it into the younger group is called Progressive Pup. This one is probably my most popular class that typically has a pretty long wait list. So this one, it's the part 1 and 2 of puppy class combined into one for the adult dogs. The puppies need a lot more time to take in information. The adult dogs can usually pick up on it a little bit quicker.
Should they want to.
Yes, exactly, if they want to. So we learn the sit and stay, lay down, stay, leash walking, recall, leave it, drop it, have it, take it, all of this fun stuff. It's really fun. We do a lot of stand because people are like, why are we teaching my dog this? Okay, grooming appointments, we need your dog to stand. Vet appointments, we need them to stand. We don't want them to pancake on the ground and freeze.
We need your dog not to bite when the vet puts their hand underneath.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want them to pancake and freak out on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more comfortable for them as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to do to show off is puppy push-ups. So you just get them to sit, lay down, and stand. And it's really cute and it's really fun. So that one, same thing, cute, fun graduation class, make it really fun for everyone. I like to make the training process very fun in general, because it's a lot better to teach a dog when they're enjoying it.
Sure.
Same with people. I don't want you to just stand there, sit. Like, yes, we'll do that, but I also give you some more tricks to make it more fun for them, some testing, like, okay, test them on this, like, try this. I try to pay attention to all the people and dogs in my class to make sure I'm taking note of who's able to do
Sure.
what and give a little bit more help.
How many dogs are in a class?
So the puppy
In
class,
general?
the size of the space, I can fit 5 in there, depending on the puppy. So if I have like small puppies compared to the large breed puppies like Great Danes, obviously there's a really big size difference
Sure.
whether they're the same age or not. So it depends on what I see for the paperwork, who's coming into the class, but typically I can fit around 5 for the puppies. And then anything bigger than that, I stick to 4 because we do a lot more movement and walking in the room.
Sure.
So
So
especially
it's good
yeah.
socialization for the dogs,
Oh, yes, it
too.
is. Yes, so we actually don't, unless it's a puppy class, we don't have the dogs play. The puppy class, they're allowed to sniff me on leash, obviously controlled, make sure we're
Yeah,
not
sure.
setting up for any reactivity in the future. We just let them play, sniff, and then we keep it very positive, like, oh, good job, like, good meeting. And then we take them back out, practice some more training, and then we go back and say hi again.
Sure.
So they can see each other, even in the adult dog classes. You can see each other, but I ask that you don't let them just bombard the other ones.
Right.
Because leash reactivity is a thing. Dogs can be the sweetest things, and then you put them on the leash, and they're like, no. Like, no.
Yeah.
Which is completely understandable. It's fine, you know. Like, dogs have their things, and we need to respect that in their space. So that's what we do a lot of. So, yeah, they play, socialization, we can see each other, but we can't say hi always. Same with people, because you end up with a dog that you're walking on the bike path, and they're like, oh, person, I can go say hi. And then you end up getting dragged to the ground. And this person who
Right.
doesn't like dogs or is scared of dogs, you're not
Right.
sure, is getting bombarded with a dog. So it's just making sure in all of these situations
And
that
as
we
you
train for
know,
that.
the bike path and
Yes.
Bluffside Farm are plagued with dogs who are let off their leash
Yes.
by their owners, who then terrorize everybody else, whether they intend that or not. And the
Yes.
dog's usually being friendly. And then there are dogs who are not necessarily
Yes.
being friendly.
So that's why I always tell people, even if your dog is amazing and great, not every dog is. And some people have their dogs on a leash for a reason. They don't want to be met by another person or a dog. Onyx, my dog, he is not super dog friendly. He likes his sister and the dogs that live at home with him, but he's on a leash. And I actually wear a lot of like safety gear for us because he really is not a fan of other dogs. So coming from someone who
And
has...
he's a big dog.
He's a very big dog, German Shepherd Husky,
Yeah.
about 90 pounds. So I wear...
you could go flying.
Yes,
because you don't
exactly.
weigh much more.
Exactly. So I keep him very close to me. So it is a little stressful when you're walking with a dog like that, or you're trying to train and get your dog out and like focus on these situations and like learning real life walks and moments out in public. And you have an off leash dog that comes up and, okay, now the training is set back because now my dog is scared. What happened? Now you have to step back and what we call go back to kindergarten. So you go back to step 1
Right.
and rebuild their confidence because that was scary for them. So I always say, if you want your dog off leash or a little bit more freedom, don't have them off leash. Just put them on a long line so you can get 10, 15, 20, 25, all the way up, and they can have their freedom without being complete off leash. Some dogs that I know are great at recall, and their
And some
owners,
dogs are not.
Exactly. And the ones that are great, people still have them on leash just to make sure,
Yeah.
because you don't know who's comfortable with what out there.
Right. And there are so many dogs up here that have a hound in their background.
Yes.
They smell something worth sniffing and
Yes,
they're gone.
and they're gone. Yep, that's their
It's
breed.
why
That's what's in their
so
brain.
many hounds wind up in shelters
Yes.
because they got lost.
Yes, and a lot of people aren't quite sure of the breed that they're getting and that it fits their lifestyle. So I've worked with a lot of shelter and rescue dogs as well from the South that people bring up here.
Yeah.
Some local ones from Friends for Life. I work with them
Sure.
a lot. So people aren't quite sure what breed they're getting. And then they get this dog, let's say just like a husky, for example. Wow, this dog is really beautiful. But they don't realize that, okay, they're runners. Like,
Yes.
they're made to run. They're bred to run. It's in their brain. They're wired that way. They're sled dogs. They pull. They just want to go. So then you get people who aren't quite sure of how they're supposed to help these dogs get their energy out
Right.
the way that they need to for their breed. So I always also help people that are interested in getting puppies find a breed that works for them.
Right.
If you want to go for a hike a lot and you like to go for walks and runs, I recommend not getting like a bulldog because they
Right.
can't have that. So if you want like a dog that can do that with you, labs are great. They love to go. And they're very loyal as well. So you just have to make sure you're picking a breed that works for you and your lifestyle, as well as one that you can help in the ways that they need.
How did you get so involved with dogs?
A few years ago, we had to put one of our dogs to sleep, unfortunately. It was very traumatic. So I wanted to be an emergency vet. I wanted to open my own thing up here, and then that happened, and I was like, this is really sad and depressing. Like, how did this vet come in here and help me euthanize my dog and then go to the next puppy client and like give puppy shots? I was like, I can't do that. I need to find the happy and the good in helping people in other ways instead of this. So that's when I found Animal Kingdom Grooming. She hired me there, loved Jerry to death. So I worked here on Main Street for a little bit with her. And so that's how I was like, okay, I'm going to work with dogs, and this is fun, this is happy. Like, I'm making dogs cute and pretty. Like, this is so much fun. And then we opened up a daycare. So we now have Animal Kingdom Grooming and Daycare down here on Farrant Street.
I love that the Doggie Daycare is right next to the kiddie daycare.
Yes, exactly. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
We love it. And so now I'm doing all of that stuff, making it like I'm getting all this joy with the dogs. But sometimes you do have clients come in and you're like, wow, this is like really sad, tugging at your heartstrings a little bit, but I'm there to help. So it's very rewarding in both ways. So that's how I got involved with all the dogs. And I was like, what can I do now? Like, what more can I do with dogs? And I was talking to Jerry, and she was like, well, what about like dog training? Have you thought about that? I was like, yeah, I have, but like, I'm not quite sure how to do that in our area. I don't really know of trainers in our area. Like, how
there are some.
Yeah. It's like, how am I supposed to get the experience that I need if I don't have any experience at all myself beforehand? So she helped me do some research, find a school online that could help me get all the tools that I needed, that had an externship involved as well, so I could get the hands-on. So I was able to do that, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to open this and I'm going to do this here in our area, because it's very much needed. Very much needed.
So many of the dogs that end up at shelters are there because their owners can't work with them.
Yes.
Can't control them.
Yeah.
Or they've acquired a dog that was so cute as a puppy and has turned into somebody who needs a massive amount of exercise which doesn't fit with their life.
Yeah, I work with a lot of the shelter and rescue dogs.
Yeah.
And I always ask people, what's the background with your dog? How old were they when you got them? Where did you get them from?
They have no clue often.
Yep. And they're like, I got it from this shelter. I'm like, okay, good to know. Do you have any information? Because I worked a lot for my externship with shelters and all that stuff down in Burlington, South Hero, everywhere. I went all over the place. So I was like, do you have any information? And they're like, no, we have zero. I was like, okay, so this is going to be like a process for both of us to try and figure out triggers, what works for your dog, what doesn't. So a lot of that, you see someone had a puppy and you're like, wow, this thing grew so fast, so strong. I don't have like the time or energy for this dog.
Right.
Let's give it up. So that's how these people are getting their dogs. So I'm trying to make sure, like, it can definitely be a lot. You get a dog, you have no idea about their past.
Right.
You don't know if they were abused, if they were taken care of, like, health-wise, any triggers like that, if they were attacked at all when they were younger. You have no idea.
Right.
So we try to work through that together and be very careful with making sure we're not having any triggers. And I also don't want the owner to be overwhelmed with, okay, I just took in this shelter dog. Now I'm a little bit overwhelmed because I didn't quite realize what I was getting myself into. So I try to make sure that it's a very easy process for the dog transitioning. Same with the owner taking in a new dog.
Right.
Because it can be a lot for everyone involved, and I want to make that, like, that home, that forever home for that dog.
Right. Yeah, a friend of mine right now is struggling. She had a senior dog who'd grown up from a puppy with the family, grown up with her kids. They got a puppy to join the family. Everything was wonderful. Senior dog was taking good care of the puppy and teaching puppy how to behave. And so were the kids. Everything was working out. Senior dog died.
Oh, no.
And now puppy says, wee, what do I do? So it's figuring out how to introduce another dog, not have another puppy that will join this puppy and trash the home, but make it work for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of work with Friends for Life Dog Rescue.
Yeah.
So I do offer people a lot. They're like, I'm looking for a dog. What do you think? I'm like, Well, first see what they have.
Right.
Because they are amazing people. All the people
Right.
there, they put in so much time and effort and work. So if people are looking for a dog, but they don't quite want a puppy and they don't know what to do,
Right.
I'm like, go speak with Tony. She
That's
will help
exactly
you.
where I have referred this
Yes.
friend. That's an amazing organization.
Yeah, they do great.
Yeah.
They do really good work.
But what you offer is then the next step
Yes.
to
Yes.
really help a dog stay in that home and succeed.
Yes, I work with a lot of the foster dogs there as well. So I spent a lot of time with Potato. He
Yeah.
joined one of my classes. He is such a sweetheart, but he is really big. And he's young, but he is really big. At first, they were sending me pictures like, hey, here he is. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to have him in my class. And then he showed up, and I remember looking at Tanya. I was like, oh, wow. She goes, what? I was like, he is so cute, but he is so much bigger than the picture showed.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is why we're here, because people show up and they see how big he is and how strong he is. And they're like, yeah, like, this isn't going to work. Like, how do
He's
we
too
make this
big,
work for
right.
us? So we were working to help him control all his excitement and his
Aw.
energy, because he really had no idea how big he was and how
Right.
big he is. So first class, he was a little nervous, but towards the end, he was like, okay, this is really fun. Like, I love this. It was really cool to see him learn new things and just completely change each week.
Right.
Like, we'd ask him to do something, he's like, I know how to do that. Like, this is fun. And then teaching him new things, you could tell it was just like clicking in his brain. And he loved it. It was so much fun for him. It was amazing for all of us in the class, not just me and Tanya working with him, but the other people in the class as well. They were like, wow, like, Potato was doing amazing. Everyone was so excited to see him every week when he came in. It was so much fun to work with him.
Yeah. When that organization came in here, they brought Lexi
Yes.
with them. A lovely little dog.
She's so cute. I haven't had the opportunity to meet her yet, but I see Tony once a week when she brings her dog Dexter to daycare at Animal Kingdom, and she'll just fill me in on all the dogs, and so there's so much fun to hear about
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. So currently you have a day job
Yes.
and your own job. Are you sort of slowly transitioning to running a center?
So that would be lovely to be able to do that.
Sure.
But I just feel like there's not enough hours in the day or days in the week.
This is true.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I work as a groomer and in the doggy daycare at Animal Kingdom. So I'm there early in the mornings, around 7, between 7 and 7:30, and then until the daycare closes at 5. So we do all of that, and then at 5:30 is when I have classes start. So then I'm there from 5:30, depending on the night, until like 8 or 8:30. So I'm working with the dogs all day long. I would love to be able to take on even more, but I also try to do a lot of pet setting as well. And yes, so I'm very much always with dogs, but there's just
Yeah.
not enough time in the day for me right now to be able to open something
Right.
bigger.
But someday, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. You never know what could happen in the future.
Right. So you've now been doing this for how many years?
So
Have you put it all together?
yes, so I've been at Animal Kingdom for 4 years now.
Wow.
And it'll be 2 years in August for the daycare. So all of that stuff. And then I started opening my business in July. So that's when I opened and started doing things myself. But I did the whole online school and the externship for about a year before that. So in this July, it'll be 1 year of me being on my own, but it'll be about 2 years of the shelter work, all the volunteering, the externship, and myself working on all of that.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It is a lot of fun. I love seeing all the dogs, and I like to see all the puppies come from litters as well. I work with a lot of dogs from the same litters, so it's really cool to see them come in and like look the same, but completely different personalities. So it's really fun to figure out what works for each one.
Yeah, it's really funny. Obviously, we're a small community up here, and some friends of mine, again, were, quote, gifted a puppy by one of, not Dog Friends for Life, but one of the other groups. gorgeous puppy who has turned into something that stands about this high.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's gargantuan. He's a lovely dog. Again, clueless about how big he is. Still wants to be a lap puppy.
Yep.
And I met one of his litter brothers the other day by accident on the street. And they were twins. It was so fun. And even funnier, they had the same name.
Oh, that's so cute.
And neither knew of the existence of the
that's
other.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, I know your dog.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. But what's really nice is that those are success stories. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's so sad when we see the unsuccess stories.
Yes. Another thing I'd like to add, all of my training is positive reinforcement only. So that means no shock collars, no choke chains, nothing like that. No hitting, punishing, squirt bottles, nothing. We use clickers, treats, and praise. This is where I see a lot of success stories come from.
Yeah.
We're not like inducing fear into them to make them scared to mess up.
Right.
We're teaching them like, hey, this is how you sit and this is how you get a treat for it. Not, okay, I asked you to sit and you're standing there looking at me, like, let's shock you. Like we're not doing that.
Good.
We don't do any of that. We do a lot of like praise and like loving on them because we want them to love it. We don't want them to be scared.
Right.
I see a lot of success come out of transitioning a dog from negative reinforcement to getting them to understand the clicker and positive reinforcement. And you just see like a whole different dog by the end of the 6-week class. They just love it. They come in so happy to be there. They're not scared to accidentally mess up.
Right.
We just want them to,
great.
Yeah, we want them to figure it out on their own.
What do you do with yappers? Those usually little dogs, but sometimes bigger dogs who just don't shut their mouths. And that drives neighbors, friends, everybody else nuts.
So I see it's a lot of breed stuff that I've noticed so far in our community.
Sure.
So these dogs aren't getting the energy that they need. So a lot of people get a small dog and they're like, this is going to be my cute little teddy bear couch potato. So they're actually not. I have a small dog myself, and a lot of people think, okay, Hope, she's 5 pounds and her legs are 2 inches tall. She doesn't need to go for walks. She does. She needs to play fetch. She needs to go for walks. She needs her energy to be run and burned off. That's where you get a lot of dogs that are bored. They're frustration barking. They're barking at the neighbors because they see them outside playing.
Right.
They're barking at the door, but when you let them out to go to the bathroom, they don't go to the bathroom. They just stare at you. Likely means there's something else going on.
Yes.
So you kind of have to find the root of why are they barking. Are they bored? Do they need to go to the bathroom? Are they hungry? Is their water bowl empty? All of these things. Do they want to play fetch? Would they rather play tug? All of this. So you have to. It's a lot of like trial and error to figure out. Or are they just
screamers like some people?
Yeah. So we have to figure out, okay, why are you barking? And then we have to meet that need. Same thing with like the big dogs too.
Yes.
You find a lot of big dogs that just stand there and stare at you and bark, and you're like, what do you need? And then you get up and you start asking the questions. Do you want to go outside? Do you want to play? Do you need some food? And then usually you'll see them like head tilt or change and like, oh, that's what I want. And then it clicks. And then like, okay, that's what they need. So same with the small dogs. A lot of people get small dogs completely forgetting that they need to run. They need to do things, especially when they're little puppies, because small dogs, even though they're this big, their energy is this big.
Of course.
Yeah. So we have to find the root of why are they yapping and barking and nipping at our ankles, and then we can problem solve and figure out how to help that.
So we should encourage annoying neighbors' dogs to visit you.
Yeah, like, hey, why are you barking? You want to go for a walk? Okay, let's go for a walk. Because I always say to my puppy class, and anyone in general, a bored dog is one that destroys your house.
It sure is.
That's one that causes trouble. If you have a tired dog that you're meeting their physical needs and their mental needs, they're going to sleep. They're not going to want to eat the couch. I know a few dogs that have 8 holes into drywall from being bored. And then we changed their routine and we included some more playtime and mental enrichment, like food puzzles, like snuffle mats, all stuff like that. And so they're tired mentally and physically. They're like, okay, cool, I don't need to eat the wall anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste good anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But they're just so bored, they don't know what to do with themselves.
Well, there's some truth in that for cats, too.
Yep. Yep.
What's really cool is that you've partnered with so many organizations.
Yes.
So there is a way for people to connect with you. how can people who watch this show connect with you?
So I currently don't have a website. We're working on that. But I do have a Facebook, Fetch and Focus Dog Training. Find us on Facebook.
Yeah, I found that.
Yes.
And it was really cool seeing a friend's puppy there.
Yes, I always post a lot of pictures and take a ton of pictures. I like to post that. I like the community to see who I'm working with, the progress updates, all of that stuff. And you can also email me, fetchandfocusvt@gmail.com. And I also have a phone number which you can call or text.
And that'll be at the bottom of the screen when we finish this.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, like, because I do work another full-time job, emailing or texting, you'll definitely get a response a little quicker because I can't make a phone call when I'm watching 20 plus dogs in the daycare. So, yeah.
It's pretty amazing when you think how many dogs go to daycare.
Yes, it's so much fun to see all their personalities, and it's great to see puppies that I train and dogs that I train transition into becoming a daycare dog as well. So they're meeting their socialization needs that way. And the other day I called over a few of the dogs that we had in daycare, Tilly, Percy, and Izzy. I work with all of them in separate groups. And I called them all over. I was like, come here, guys. And I asked them to sit, and they all sat in front of me perfectly with all of their friends playing in the background. I was like, this is really like rewarding and fun to see. Like, it was
and
really
nice
cool.
for their owners, too.
Yeah, yes. And the dogs come home from daycare, and they're tired, so they're not bored. They're not eating your drywall. They just want to sleep and relax, and they're getting a lot of positive experiences through daycare.
A lot of people got dogs during COVID times because they were all sitting home, they were bored, and they thought, yay, I can have a dog now. I've always wanted a dog or two dogs. And then when they had to go back to work in the real world, it was much harder to sustain that.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of dogs because of that?
Yes. So I think we all kind of forgot, like, when the world paused for a second, that it would go back to normal.
To the real world,
we would hit play on life again, and we'd be able to go out and do all of these things. So I am seeing a lot of dogs come into daycare that have never seen a dog before, even 4 or 5 years after COVID. So they've never seen a dog before. They've never sniffed a dog. They've never heard another dog bark.
Isn't that crazy when you think about it?
So now they're learning how to be dogs, which is now like age 4 or 5, depending on what kind of dog you got and when. So they're now learning how to be a dog and figure out life from this age. So it's a little different for them because you have to completely expose them to all of these things, but you can also overexpose a dog and cause trauma and reactivity, which we never want to add that into a dog. So we're very careful about adding them into the daycare and with training as well. So I have baby gates that I put up, and I will drape sheets over it so the dogs can hear dogs, but they aren't worried that a dog is going to come lunge at them and want to say hi, but they could take that the wrong way. They're a little scared. So we make sure they're all comfortable. You can see and hear dogs, but you don't have to worry. Like, we're not going to just have a dog go near you. I work with a lot of COVID puppies, grown dogs now as well, that they're struggling. I have a few that come in the first few times, they won't take treats when they're there. It's a new place, new people, new sounds, new smells, all of that.
Scary.
It's very scary for them when they first come in, and they've never been in the car for that long before. They just get really scared. They refuse to take treats. They don't want praise. They just sit there and shake. So then we actually switch, and their next appointments are, I either travel to you to make sure I can help you, and they learn at your house, and then we slowly transition to bringing them back out into the public, into new places, or I offer like Zoom or Google Meet. So we can do that over the phone.
This is really interesting. I mean, you're seeing it so clearly in the dogs. But the same thing happened to kids, children.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, the world like shut off for a little bit, and we forgot it was going to go back to normal.
Right.
And now we're like, okay, how do we navigate this? Because obviously, like, everyone
how do we pick up where we left off?
Yeah, how do we move on from here? But I'm very happy that I'm able to help these dogs that were in that position, and now they're learning how to be dogs, and they're learning how to live life. I always want to make sure that I'm helping owners and their dogs build a strong bond together. Yeah. So if a dog is nervous, like, they can look to their mom or dad, like, okay, you can help me, like, I trust you. Like, I know I'm good, I'm in safe hands with you, and I just want them to live the best life that they possibly could. So if that means a little bit more training to help them be a better dog, like what some people like to word it, That's what I'm going to do. I want to help the dog live the best life and be the best version of themselves.
And you're working with the owner, the owner's family, and the pup.
Yes.
Which is so much smarter than people who send their dog away to be trained. I mean, that to me is the dumbest of ideas because that's not training you, the human.
Yes. So I do one-on-one with just me and the dog, but I require that we have at least 2 or 3 sessions. They're called transfer sessions where the owner comes in and I teach them everything that the dog now knows. And then I see, okay, are you keeping up with the homework? Are they able to respond to you and not just me? Because I've noticed that a few dogs have come in for their transfer sessions and the owner will say, okay, sit. And they look at me and they sit. And the owner's behind them. And they're like, why is the dog not listening to me? That's why we're here. We're making sure your dog can respond to you and not just me. So that's why I also have people bring their family members in.
Right.
And I always ask that, who's going to be training the dog? Who's in the household? Okay, let's make sure we're all making sure we're completing the homework because the dog needs to listen to more than just one person.
Right. Because if you're a family, Pup had better listen to all of you.
Exactly. And I always give out homework. I make sure, because I actually have had a few clients say to me, wow, Hope, I didn't realize that it's not just you training the dog. I'm giving you the tools and helping your dog get the first steps, and then you refine that at home and make sure they can listen. But I wish I had a magic wand. And
Don't we all?
Sit. I wish I could do that, but I can't.
It's like raising a kid and expecting the school to do the training.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, nice idea, never works.
So you got to keep up with the homework as well at home to make sure that the dog is keeping it in their brain and it's fresh. And always incorporate it into your daily routine. We're not just going to sit down and do homework for 20 minutes a night. Sit, lay down, lay down. No, okay. You want them to go outside. Sit before you open the door. You want to feed them? Okay. Have them sit and wait before you put the food bowl down and then let them have it.
As opposed to stampede at the bowl.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I always try to make sure we're bringing it into routine, daily routine, to keep it fresh. So it's not just, okay, I have a treat pouch on and a clicker, you better listen right now. No, they need to know all these basic manners.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
We're out of time now, so thank you so much for coming in. And I know where to refer neighbors with noisy dogs and other dog issues.
Yeah, refer them all to me.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course.